Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. Really appreciate you taking out time to check out this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it, so thank you in advance. Now, I love beat 'em ups, right? All kinds of beat 'em ups. Just give them to me. I'll play them. I'll give them a shot if nothing else, and I'll probably have something good to say about them. So I want to talk about one that's lesser known nowadays for what it did for beat 'em ups and more so as like a meme over the past decade or so, but it's still really good for what it was, especially during the time. And that is the legendary, yes, I said legendary, Bad Dudes. Now, I didn't know this for a long time, but the title of the game that I've played is actually Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninja, right? And I think the NES version was abbreviated to just Bad Dudes. I'm not sure of the differences in them because they all, to me, were the same. But this is a game I played both on arcade and on console. I never owned this game, which is one of the reasons why I never beat it, but also because it gets really hard. You know, it was definitely around the time of Double Dragon, so, you know, it was definitely made to take them quarters. But the game was like, they just said, you know what's happening in action movies? Okay, bad dudes, bad guys, which is always funny that your characters are the bad dudes, but that's kind of a product of its time where bad was meaning good and whatever you want to do. But then they were like, all right, ninjas kidnap somebody. Who'd they kidnap? Now, there's like one version where I believe they kidnapped the president's daughter, or maybe that's a different game and it all blends together. But President Ronnie, which lets you know when this game was made, has been kidnapped by ninjas, and you got to go rescue him. And the game asks a very specific question: are you a bad enough dude? And then, press start and jump into the game. That's just simple. And it was co-op, so that was always really cool. And, you had lives, so it wasn't just one of those, like Double Dragon, where I felt like put the quarters in and, you die and that's it, and put some more quarters in. But it definitely does follow the same pattern of letting you feel real good. Like the first level, you can basically go through it without getting hit, and Data East, as brilliant as they are, would always slip in certain things to let you know you're playing a Data East game, in particular Karnov. And if you know about who Karnov is, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. He is the, I'm assuming he's supposed to be like a caricature of a Middle Eastern guy from back then. And, he breathes fire. He's got no shirt on. He's muscle bound, but he's got the belly and he's got like the ponytail with the bald head, the complete stereotype. And, that was like Data East's like unofficial mascot, and he would just show up in games. He actually had his own game where he was like the protagonist, and none of it ever makes sense. But like, seeing Karnov in the very first level again was like, oh yeah, this is definitely a Data East game, which that company does not get the credit for the things they did as far as, if nothing else, making games that could compete with some of the best games in whatever genres that they made the games in. So for example, Bad Dudes obviously is trying to cash in on what Double Dragon was doing and what, led to Final Fight and all those different other beat 'em ups, right? But Bad Dudes isn't like that much worse than Double Dragon. And in some aspects, to me, it's better than Double Dragon because it's more accessible. Like Double Dragon decided, to put things in like platforming, which had no business in a beat 'em up game. And Bad Dudes doesn't really have that. Yeah, you can jump up and down between two different planes, but that was almost like, nothing new. Like Shinobi and stuff like that already had that in the game. So it wasn't something that was, a brand new concept. It was just in a different genre. But you go through all these different levels. Obviously you got to do levels where you're on top of moving things, because what other way could they make you fall off and, use some more quarters? Like you don't have the same ability as the bad guy, so you don't get to jump in the water. Like that's instant death for you, but they can. And the bad guys would do the old school thing of trying to touch you. So you got to deal with that. But overall, this game is very solid. And it was a game that, because of the difficulty spike, I never beat as a kid. But through the powers of, the internet and computers, I can play the arcade version on my PC, and I can just keep jabbing the quarter button so I can finally show them, through the assistance of that system, that I am a bad enough dude. And I did rescue President Ronnie. And it was very tough because they do this is one of the first games, at least to my knowledge, where they do the boss rush at the end, which became definitely a staple of beat 'em up games. Like I said, Double Dragon being the pioneer of that. It's like, oh, you beat this character as a boss earlier? Okay, that's cool. Now it's a regular enemy now. So just now fight him again with all the same tactics and stuff, but also, two of them, or while you're fighting another boss, or just something to make it, much harder than what you did. And yes, they're still just trying to touch you. But very fun game. And if you are a fan of beat 'em ups, you got to shout out and you got to experience what led to the beautiful beat 'em ups we got later, like Streets of Rage 2 and those of that kind. And this is definitely one of those that laid the groundwork. So, pay homage. If you know about bad dudes, or if you were a bad enough dude, let me know in the comments. And then I appreciate you letting me reminisce with you. Y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Peace.